everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the panel for the Southside and Beyond Short Films Showcase live panel. We're here with our fantastic filmmakers, and we're going to be able to ask them some questions and have some conversation about their work that you've just seen streaming today until 7 p.m. So if you haven't watched it, you got a little time to squeeze in some of the films. And first, I'd like to just introduce the festival. The Chicago Southside Film Festival is a not-for-profit arts and culture organization founded in 2017. The festival's two-part mission is to provide Southside filmmakers with opportunities to screen their work in their own communities and to use film as a tool for collective, intellectual, and community engagements. So first, let's just go around and have each of you introduce yourselves kind of in the order that you're on the screen, your name and which film you had, and let's start with Arkier.
Hey guys, well, it's your good guy here, Arkier, otherwise known as Prince Onyx, and I am the director of Confusion, Sidetracked Tales, The Lonely Princess. No, do I need to say anything else?
We'll just keep going.
Hi, my name is Regina Hoyles, and I'm the writer and director of Adullam.
Derrick? Derrick, you're muted still.
Okay. Hi, I'm Derrick Cameron. I'm the writer-director of It Never Entered My Mind. Yeah, that's it.
Vick? Oh, you're muted. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's go to Shaquille.
Hi, I'm Shaquille Roberts, and I'm the director and writer for Let Go.
Jessica.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Jessica, and I am the director as well as director of photography for Liar.
And now Vick. Vick? Okay. She's gonna refresh. Okay. So let's just get started with my first question, which is how long did it take you to complete the film, and what was the process like to even get started? So everyone has such unique concepts and everything. So let's start with Arkier. How did you get started with Confusion?
Oh man, so with Confusion, I started that. Oh my God, I came up with the idea back in 2014. It was just because I really wanted to see more people who look like us in supernatural and horror and science fiction. And so I started with the concept, and then in 2015, started with the first movie, Diary of a Confused Vampire, and literally just branched off from there. So what you guys saw today was part of the new mini-series where we tackle more character development and more individualized stories of different characters from the franchise, from all three movies to even the web series, some of which we shot last year. And yeah, it was just, if I had to say it, Confusion to me is like a supernatural version of my childhood heroes, the X-Men, in a way, because they are seen as, of course, these monsters. Really, they are people, well, supernatural beings, but still people nonetheless with hearts of gold who want to protect these, ironically enough, the South Side of Chicago. So yeah.
Regina?
For me, it started, I want to say in November 2018, I came up with the idea. And I was really drawn to just the concept of someone getting super well known in an area and everyone loving them only to realize they're not who they say they are. And also just drawing from my love of sci-fi. I love like Black Mirror type stuff. I like sci-fi that's super grounded in reality and that seems plausible. I also really love Black people. And so I was like, I just want to combine this and make that known in a short. And so it kind of, it was a tug and pull, a little bit difficult to get started, but I just felt like this was something that I was supposed to make. And so ultimately I was shooting by May of the following year. And so it was 3 days in my hometown. I had so many people I knew come together, like shot one of the scenes in my best friend, my childhood best friend, is still best friend to this day, her house. I didn't even ask her for her house. I just told her I was going to be filming that day. And my directorial debut was really, really special for me. So yeah.
Derrick? Still muted.
I thought of this idea 3 years ago, and just wanted to encapsulate just a small minute of a marriage. And I always wanted to do something animated. So reached out to somebody at NYU, and he reached out to me, and he was just like, "Yeah, this is a great idea." And we've been working on it for basically the past year. So yeah, that was just the motivation behind it. But yeah, I just wanted to do something that was like, kind of an encapsulation of one single moment in a marriage.
Shaquille?
So for Let Go, I wrote it in college in my final year. But I actually shot it in 2018. And so for me, the process, it was never done, and it's never going to be done. In my opinion, I've been like editing it and like making tweaks in it forever. So to me, I just need to let it go and like let it be. But yeah, so that was kind of my process. Is this I've just been like constantly like editing it and making tweaks, and hopefully this is like the final version for me, because it actually is something that I'm happy with. But it took me a while to like really get it to where I'm in love with it.
Jessica?
So for me, it was a bit twofold why I created Liar. The first reason being that my brother is a music artist, and Liar is actually his song, and he wanted a music video, so he's like, who's better to ask than my filmmaker sister to make the video? But then also 2019, when I created it, was the year that I decided that I was going to be a full-time freelancer as a director of photography and as a filmmaker. And so I knew leaving a 9-to-5 job and not having any certainty where my next job would come from, I wanted to come out the gate with a very strong portfolio piece. And so we sort of put our heads together where I said, okay, if I do this music video, it can't be a typical rap or R&B song. It has to be unique and out of the box. And we came up with a noir concept to pay homage to noir films, which invited dramatic lighting so that I could be more creative and just really kind of push the boundaries. And that's kind of how Liar came to be.
Okay, great. And Vick?
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you now.
Okay. Well, the inbox interviews, I wrote it this year, 2020, but it was the top of the year. And I wrote it. It was really quick. It was something that I wanted to do something fun. And we filmed it right before the pandemic. And basically I wanted to do something fun before my scheduled feature. I had a feature to film in June, which is, it didn't happen because of 2020, but I'm so glad that we went forward with this inbox interviews, this short. We had a lot of fun, and really it was just something fun to do. It was a passion project. It was something fun to do. So that was really my motivation. It's a prelude. It's kind of a connection to the feature that I'm still slated to do next year now. But
perfect. That was going to be my next question. Another filmmaker had mentioned that there's a bit of bias against shorts, but that's such a great way to get started and show the world what you can do. So open question for everyone is, now that the lines between genres are blurring and formats, we have more flexibility with things in between, like web series or limited series. Do you see yourself sticking with shorts in the future, by choice, by, you know, just management of resources, or are you interested in working your way towards something different, a different format or genre? So anyone can jump in here.
I'll start.
Well,
Go.
go ahead, Vick.
Well, I wanna continue to do shorts, features. I want to do it all. But yeah, features, that's something I want to really, you know, conquer. But I have a passion and love for shorts. It's impactful. It's a story that you could tell quickly and shortly. And I just love it. So I plan on to continue to do short films. But, you know, the goal is features, but I have to stay with my shorts also. That's just me.
Shaquille?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I just, you know, I love storytelling. So no matter what format, whether it's shorts, animated, you know, TV, feature, whatever, I love storytelling. So yeah, that's my goal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my goal moving forward.
Oh, okay.
My bad, y'all. I'm just like interrupting.
Shaquille?
Go ahead.
But for me, I was recently at a company with a person, and I won't say the name, but one thing that they said is that, like, I won't hire a person with a bunch of shorts on their resume. And I was like very offended, because I was like, shorts are just as great and just as much of art and its own form in itself, you know. And so for me, I would go forth and do them all, from like features to series to all of that. I won't limit myself to just shorts, but I will continue to do shorts as well, you know, because they are just as great as a full feature. You know, you still get a lot out of them. And if anything, I think that they're a little bit more challenging just to get so much in a shorter amount of time and still make it great. And so we're all on this panel because we were able to do something great in a short amount of time.
Agreed.
I agree. I run an organization in the Bronx, in New York, that teaches students to make short films. Yeah, there's there's a very specific skill to making a short. So yeah, I would always, you know, advocate for short films.
Yeah, I agree. I think music videos is ultimately what inspired me to be a filmmaker. And you know, one thing I took from like Michael Jackson and other artists is telling short narratives in, you know, a certain amount of time, such as music videos. And that's again, like you guys, I'm just piggybacking off what you said. It's a skill in itself to capture a moment or a feeling in a matter of minutes. You know, it's one thing to tell a story and make somebody feel some type of way in 90 minutes, but if you can do that in 3, you know, that speaks volumes about your skill and your ability to tell a story and connect with them immediately. And so I think there will always be a space for me to create shorts. I'm definitely open to other formats, but I have a soft spot for short films in particular.
Regina?
Yeah, for me, I definitely agree with Derrick in that I'm a storyteller at heart. And honestly, I feel like it's just a matter of choosing what format caters to the story best. I'm also the one that's really drawn to like slice of life things. And I feel like shorts absolutely cater to that genre, like slice of life moments. And they're often utilized as like proof of concepts for bigger things like series or features. So I feel like there will always be a place for them. And also just with the landscape changing, I feel like shorts are a more viable thing, especially for indie filmmakers. You know, like COVID really shook the game for a lot of us in many ways. And so I think it's the time to really get even more creative. And shorts, like Jessica was touching on, it says a lot that you're able to tell an impactful story in such a contained amount of time. And I feel like a lot of the times that's the thing to get other people's attention, is like, if they can do this with and tell in different ways, and with series and like features. So storyteller all the way. So definitely agree with that.
Arkier?
I mean, I can't help but agree with what everybody was saying, because it's like Shaquille was saying, like, it's because of shorts that we are here, for example. And ironically enough, when I started with Confusion, the first film was essentially a short, about 35 minutes. Then the second one, we actually took a swing at the whole feature length thing. And, you know, it didn't go as planned, but we still persevered. And then the third one was a feature. Then, of course, the web series. And so me doing the mini series, from what you guys saw with Sidetrack Details, I wanted to get back to my roots of short stories, but also challenge my writing, because, you know, being from the Windy City, we can be rather long-winded. So I wanted to like really challenge myself, and I did that. So I'm actually going to stick to the mini series as well as the web series and everything else, you know, because shorts, they really shows how well you can captivate an audience. Like everybody was saying, if I can captivate you in 5 to 7 minutes, then of course I can captivate you for 90 plus minutes. So it's all about building yourself up. You can't just take a swing at something like a feature length and think that you're going to knock it out the park. You have to start small, you know, crawl before you walk. So I agree with what everybody was saying.
Okay, great. And
it's also something I teach my students as well. The format doesn't matter. You know, if you can tell a story, that's all that matters. The technology, all that kind of stuff, nothing matters. If it's VR, whatever it is, but as long as you can tell a story, that's all that really matters. And so that's kind of how I navigate everything.
Okay, perfect. Actually, my next question is starting with Derrick. So the last film we saw from you, you are a Southside Film Festival alum. We had your short film Cherry Hook in 2018, and that was one of those stories that was like ripped from the headlines and so intensely real and dramatic. So what was it like to make a transition from something that, you know, felt so gritty and real to that slightly surreal feeling of getting into animation? And like, what was the actual work process like for executing an animated film?
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know if there was an actual, like, you know, transition or anything like that. Like I said, I'm a storyteller. I've written a bunch of stories. Have a bunch of stories on deck that I want to make. But I thought that, you know, that the Cherry Hook was very relevant for that time. And then, you know, I'd always wanted to make something in animation. So, you know, making that was, you know, another experience and, you know, a different experience. But I wouldn't say that it was, I don't know. I wouldn't say that it was like a big transition or anything like that. It's just, you know, talking to another filmmaker, you know, who is my animator, and then another filmmaker that was my producer, and that, you know, that was a normal, you know, conversation. So yeah, it wasn't anything that was like transformative or anything like that. It was just, you know, one of those things that was just like, this is another part of storytelling and filmmaking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Should we expect to see more animation from you in the future? Is it something that you have more interest in exploring?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think about a filmmaker, listen, I'm not trying to compare myself to Wes Anderson. But if you think about a filmmaker like Wes Anderson, it's storytelling. At the end of the day, that's what it is, you know? And so, you know, he's made films, and then he's also made animated films.
Mhm.
And that's basically what it is. It's storytelling at the end of the day. Same thing with Quentin Tarantino. I was watching Kill Bill Volume 1 the other day, and it's a 20-minute sequence where that's that entire anime sequence. It's storytelling at the end of the day. Like that's what we're talking about.
Mhm. So next for Arkier, we have a lot of horror and supernatural films that until very recently didn't seem to have much representation when it comes to Black characters. So what were some of the classic elements of horror and like the vampire mythology that you decided to keep, and what did you want to change in approaching your series?
Oh man, I mean, I get asked this a lot whenever we do screenings for our series because the vampires. I would say that I definitely pulled from Blade with the Daywalker aspect because before we started doing night scenes, which we actually did one last year for the web series, it was primarily everything was shot in the daytime, and in the back of my mind, I always knew, okay, people are going to ask about that, but it's like, oh, there's a way to talk about that, Daywalkers, because again, like I gave my vampires an assortment of abilities, and Daywalking is one of them. I also pulled from Queen of the Dam a little bit with the character Kalita that you guys met. She was the red-haired vampire, and just her being from an older class of vampirism and just carrying herself with such a prestige. So yeah, pulling from that, Queen of the Dam, Blade, again, pulling from X-Men with the various abilities. What else? I want to say that's pretty much it. A little bit of comedy in there with some of the lines, a little bit of like, displaying characters' personalities, cocky and arrogant, and mixing it up with other stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So just pulling from an assortment of different things and making one big old pot of gumbo, if you will.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Also pulling from a lot of things, Regina. There's plenty of conversation about the topics that your film touches on, about like appropriation and Black culture being commodified, basically. There's so many ways to approach that. What made you decide to go with the sci-fi angle that you used?
It definitely still goes back to like my genuine love for sci-fi and the sci-fi that makes you think and the sci-fi that seems like super realistic, like very near future. And just going to a space where I can really, delve further into how we're not credited. Most often than not, minorities are just taken advantage of in so many ways, and whether we see it or not, it's happening every day. And so just the idea that people could get even more creative with how they do so doesn't seem too far-fetched for me. So yeah, that's definitely where that stemmed from for me.
Interesting. It was such a like perfectly timed film. I feel like I'm in those conversations like every day, everywhere online.
Yeah.
Is that an idea that you plan to expand on? It felt like there's so much more with all of your.
Oh no, yeah. It literally was started as a proof of concept for a series, an anthology series I had in mind. But then like 2020 happened, and upon like COVID and then the revolution, there was just so much that I was just like thinking about in terms of who I want to be as an artist, what I want to say, what's needed. So I feel like it's not a never again, but I kind of put a little bit of a not now on it for a series, but that's where it started from. And so the anthology series ultimately would the title Adullam means hidden in plain sight. And so basically the anthology series would depict different socioeconomic issues that are hidden in plain sight in our lives on an everyday basis. And so I would like tackle different topics, specifically all taking place in the near future in the south suburbs of Chicago was ultimately the thing I was really thinking of. But I put a pause on that just because I feel like there's other stories I really want to focus on now. And also just thinking about, if you watch like Adullam without giving too much away, thinking about who is really the center of that story and who I would like to really focus on was what was coming to mind a lot when I was thinking about where do I take this now, so yeah.
That raises another question. Aside from just the change in physical work environments or the ability to work or, you know, show your films, how has 2020 affected you, like, as a creative? So, you know, projects you're working on, but also like your approach to what you want to do next in the whatever the after it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know who wants to start. Regina, did you want to?
For me, it's really been, it's almost been like a recalibrating of what feels most necessary, not only to what we need now, but from me. Like, I feel like it's more important than ever to tell your story. And that hit me like in a deep way, even this week, just feeling that there's so much specificity to all of our individual experiences. And like this, the more specific you get, the more universal it becomes. And I just feel like that's so needed, especially for our stories that are more often than not taken from us, or other people are given the liberty to tell our stories. And, you know, I work behind and in front of the scenes, so I'm able to see the people who have the power in our stories. And just even looking at the way things have shifted, there's some people who have this idea of inclusivity that's very surface level, and that is like, oh, let's make a story that was once filled with non-Black people, non-minorities. Like, let's make it so that we just make it more diverse. But they're throwing minority characters or figures in stories not necessarily thoughtfully, and they're not rewriting, they're not recreating to make it so that it makes sense. So it's like, don't be diverse for the sake of diverse. Don't think of it as a buzzword. It's like inclusivity is what we want. By inclusivity, we mean like thoughtful portrayals of us. And that doesn't always have to be deep. We don't always have to be a Moonlight. Like, you know, we can have a girl trip too. But like, let there be reality in it as well. And so I feel like that's that authenticity that's only going to come from you telling your story honestly and truthfully. So I feel like that's what we need more than ever, is truthful stories.
Who would like to go next? Vick, we haven't heard from you in a second. How's 2020 affected you as a creative?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I had to, you know, postpone a film that I really, really, you know, wanted to do. And so I had to go inward. And I mean, I write all the time, and I'm always preparing for the next project and things of that nature. But I have the inward, something that Regina was saying as well, that I have to pick and choose, because like the things are opening up now and projects have been presented to me to, you know, produce and go forward with. But my choosing is a little bit different, just a little bit different. I've always been choosy, but it's just a little bit different. And something that, you know, as a creator, and we are, I'm going to say we are responsible to create things that represent what's happening. And it doesn't, you know, like she said, it don't have to be that deep or anything like that. But I have to pick and choose what I want for my brand and what I really want to say. And again, to depict what's going on. And it's not that simple. So it's just a lot of, I'm going to make up a word, inflection, not reflection, but it's a lot of inward things going on. And so I'm really liking some of the things that I'm writing, but I'm taking my sweet time with it, because like I said, I wanted to reflect the times, reflect what's going on in here, but also, like I said, it's just, you know, we have a bit of a responsibility to show what's happening and how we as Black people, how we're affected, all of that. So I think I answered the question.
Yes.
I'll just add in here. You know, I teach at I'm the executive director at a nonprofit that teaches filmmaking to students in New York, and It's really important, I think, especially for this time, just to have them reflect on, their self-portrait, what they're thinking about, what they are thinking about as far as like, this climate we're in. So it's really important to me. So that's one of the things that, I really want to focus on for my students, especially.
Jessica, Shaquille, Arkier. Anybody want to chime in as well about 2020? Arkier?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 2020 definitely happened. It delayed. So, because what I did with my web series was we did the first half, which was the first 3 episodes last year, and we were going to do the second half this year on top of a whole bunch of other projects, non-confusion related, but all of that has been delayed. But I have been writing like crazy. I actually wrote something that it's kind of like a virtual special, if you will, of my series. So that's going to be really interesting shooting that later this month, fingers crossed, as well as shooting some like little teaser material just to like put some content out there and just keep the interest in the eyes and the focus on us. But yeah, I do like what I've been writing as well, and I can't wait. I mean, it's, if anything, 2020's been a challenge because I've been challenging myself on, okay, well, let me try this, let me try that. So again, with the virtual special, can't wait for you guys to see that. And how we did that, which it took me about a good month to write it, just because I was really trying to figure out how to be as minimalist as possible, scale back, but still be impactful, because it's like two stories in one. So it's like just 2 stories, but they're short. So again, going back to the short stories and stuff like that. But yeah, 2020 happened, but it definitely will not stop us. So yeah.
Jessica?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. So for me, especially during the lockdown, this sort of creative coach that I follow by the name of Justin Michael Williams, he said something that really struck a chord with me. He talked about how this is really the time to work on yourself, because throughout life, if you've ever said to yourself, man, I really want to work on this project, but I don't have time, or man, I really want to write this story, but I got work, or I got things to do, or I just simply don't have time. And it's like, well, guess what? Now you ain't got nothing but time. There's literally no excuse. There is nothing happening in the world right now. You're in your house. And so for me, that gave me the opportunity to write another short film, because I've always given excuses when it comes to writing in particular. I think writer's block is a huge monster, and I that was like my excuse, like, I just really don't have the time to just truly sit down with myself and write something. And if I were to say that lie during 2020, like, nobody would have believed me. So I wrote a short film called Wonder Child, which became a finalist for a pitching event. It didn't win, but I'm still really excited to flesh it out and still make it come to life, because the fact that it made it that far, really spoke to me, that it resonated with other people. So yeah, just again, to piggyback off of what you guys are saying, just 2020 honestly is a disruptive year to say, hey, focus on you. There's nothing else in the world happening right now.
Yeah.
I agree. 2020 is definitely a disruptive force. And for me, I personally felt like when COVID happened, it like stopped my premiere, and I had a huge premiere planned. And so when all the venues shut down, like, I couldn't have my premiere. And so for me, that was kind of like depressing. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, and so I had my time in the first few months where I was just like super upset and like this and that. But I started to feel like, you know, it's one thing for me to get in my own way and for me to be like, I can't do something, but it's another thing when I feel like an outside force is telling me that I can't do something. And so for me, if anything, COVID was like a catalyst, or it was something that pushed me to be like, oh no, I'm going to do this. Just because COVID is making me feel like I can't do it or I'm not supposed to do it. And any type of force outside of me that tells me that I can't do something, I have to do it just to say that I can do it. You know, so for me, I felt like it was more of like a motivation thing for me to start back writing, for me to start back getting to shooting and things like that. Of course, safely, and we do have to adjust to like guidelines and things like that. But not using it as an excuse, and it's a very valid excuse. Like COVID is a very valid excuse to not do something. But me not using it as an excuse to say that I can't do something. I can do it. I just have to adjust to how to do it safely.
I feel that. And I'm so glad we were able to be part of the virtual rollout for your film, because I feel like now is the perfect time for Let Go. I can't recall, you know, it's been years for many people that we've had such a collective kind of time of mourning shared across, you know, the whole world, really. So what did you originally kind of want to say, exploring like grief and acceptance and loss with this family, and like how has that kind of changed now as the world has changed since, you know, you set out with this project?
So originally I really just wanted to create something that was like creative and like family oriented. And, you know, as you said, the time that we're living in now with COVID, you know, grief is something that's huge around, you know, the world right now, not just America, but around the world. Like I feel like grief is something that we all can identify with. And I wanted my entire cast to be Black because I feel like there aren't a lot of stories where we're just able to be just human. You know, just like grief is something that we all experience. It's not exclusive to Black. It's not exclusive to a race or anything. And so I wanted to do something where it was telling something, or it was doing something that we all can feel, not exclusive to one race, but then put our race in there to be like, hey, we're more than just the stereotypes that we've been put up against. Like we have something, we're human as well, you know? And so for me, when after like, for this to like roll out at the time that it did, experiencing grief was like it's a crazy coincidence, you know. But for me, yeah, that I really wanted to explore grief in the Black families, in the Black community, and in a way that's just not exclusive to Black, but being exclusive to human, you know, and showing our human connection and human emotion.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful. Definitely something that I can relate to differently from, you know, when we were looking at open submissions to like looking at the film now that we're streaming it. For Vick, I think it's interesting that your story world is also like more centered now because we're all online, doing some of everything.
What timing?
And we're also seeing more just now, recently starting to see like more unconventional relationship structures in general. And even more recently, just beginning to scratch the surface of that with Black folks kind of normalizing it in the mainstream. What drew you to the subject in inbox interviews, and how did you kind of decide like the tone to take with it? Because it could go in so many different directions when you start talking about romance and everything that's going on in your film.
Yeah, well, firstly, I want to, you know, enlighten people about an alternative Black love sexuality. that, you know, we too love alternatively, that is not just your typical, you know, man, woman, monogamous type of thing. That there's a whole different lifestyle out there that Black folks participate in. So with that being said, like I said, I wanted to do something fun, and this is a spin of what a lot of people do. They hit you in the inbox, the DM, and all of that. And so I wrote it in such a way that it's a one linear conversation, and I had her represent different sides of her, different versions of, because I think I know I'm sure I said this, like we all have different versions of ourselves, and when you're on social media, people do have that, you know, they show different versions of themselves on social media than what they are in real life. That happens a lot, and it's just a lot of different aspects of what's happening now and how people do connect. And on the dating scene, it's in that inbox. It starts there a lot of times, and it's hey beautiful and what's up and I like how you're posting and all of that stuff. So that's really how, you know, that started. But again, I wanted to take it to the Black alternative sexuality. I wanted to go that way with it, and that's what you see at the end. That you know, that this was something for her and her man. So yeah.
Thank you. So going to our other love triangle with Jessica. So you had the very cool like period piece feel going on in your film, but I know it's not something we see very often in a lot of independent work, just because it can be so impractical to pull off the props and the wardrobe and settings that you need. How did you balance kind of the business side of your vision with the business side, and then like actually executing your vision and taking us back in the day? Jessica, still with us?
Oh, huh. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Cool.
Oh, wait, sorry, you're cutting out a bit. Hello? Okay, seems like we've got a little problem with Jessica's connection. I'll circle back to her. So what have each of you learned from making this film that you're going to carry to your next project? So I'll start with Arkier. We can just kind of go around.
Well, from this project, like I said, I'm going to continue with the short format. I just really like the reaction and the response to the more, like I said, individualized stories. People are really captivated by these four characters and they want to know more. So, yeah, I like the format. It, you know, worked for me because I mean, I'm here, you know, at the Chicago Southside Film Festival. So, yeah, just carrying that into more and more, because I also shot a proof of concept last year as well for a Black slasher film that I'm working on, and that's another passion project of mine. So I intend rather to finish that script by the end of this year and start shooting some stuff possibly next year, but definitely shooting some more teasers this year, this month specifically, you know, spooky season. And yeah, just carrying that format more and more, because short formats will get you far. Little do people want to believe.
Okay, Jessica's back with us. So I'll go back to my question quickly about balancing the practical side of pulling off a period piece and executing your creative vision.
Cool. Can you hear me okay now? Or
Yes, got you.
Awesome. So the cool thing and the fortunate thing about shooting noir is it's such an unexpected and unusual style that I kind of leveraged the business side of it with, like, for example, I got a really cool colorist based out of LA who normally color corrects and color grades commercials. And he does it for a hefty price, but he was so interested in color grading for a noir piece that he was like, hey, this is so unique that I'm willing to do it for half the price. So, and then same with union workers, same with, sorry, we just wrapped a film, not a film, but I'm on set and we just wrapped, so there's like people in the background. Crazy stuff. But that is honestly how I built a lot of my crew and my team. I kind of just pitched the concept like, hey, I'm trying to do this crazy noir thing in 2019. A lot of the actors and actresses were just down for wearing trench coats and dresses from the 50s. And so that is kind of how I balance making connections and relationships that I otherwise probably couldn't have pulled off if it was just a typical run-of-the-mill story. So yeah, that worked out a lot for me.
Perfect. Back to Regina. What did you kind of learn the process of this project that will influence or carry over to the next?
This definitely added to my whole idea of you can do so much more than you think with a little. Also to utilize all of your resources to the best of your advantage, like all of them, like actually think of that one restaurant you went to growing up all the time, so you know that owner is going to let you have that restaurant for free for one scene, like things like that, and I feel like that'll get you so far. And I'm based in LA. I go back and forth, but in LA even, that's where my post-production team was, and simply from having my phone number in my signature, they saw the area code, called me, and then was like, are you from such and such? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, we're from here too. What high school did you go to? And I was like, this high school. And that's where all my family went there too. And literally from there, like they discounted the post-production services for me majorly, like in a major way, to the point where I would tell other filmmaker friends and they would be like, wait, they're really going to do all of that? And so I would definitely say utilizing my resources, seeing what connections I have, and, being genuine about it. So it's not just always a take, but what can you also offer to the people in your community as well? So I take that with me everywhere it goes.
Regina, what high school did you go to?
Marian Catholic.
Okay. The ultimate Chicago question.
The ultimate Chicago question.
Yeah.
I'm a Dolphin.
Derrick.
Yeah.
But Michelle commented, our festival founder made sure to rep Kenwood even behind the scenes.
Kenwood is fine. That's fine.
That's fine. I know everyone can't be King Couch Prep, so it's okay.
Everybody can't be Michelle
that's
Obama.
Not fair. You can't.
So, yeah,
you can't pull this Obama card.
I'm just saying she went to Whitney Young.
Goodness. Okay, but how about you,
saying.
Derrick? What are you carrying from It Never Entered My Mind kind of to your next project that you'll be working on?
I've written a bunch of projects, and so I'm just trying to just think about like what that next level is going to be. The next thing I have on deck is pilot. The TV pilot, so we'll see what that looks like. But I've written feature scripts as well, and so and I've also written a bunch of feature, not feature, but short projects as well. So maybe making some of those in the meantime. So yeah, it's just like I said earlier, it's just a matter of storytelling. Just like I always want to be telling stories. That's it.
Love that.
That's really it. That's really it.
Shaquille?
I think something that I really learned from making this short film is just to just do it and to not be so hard on myself. This is the first time. This is the first festival I've ever entered, you know, and I got in.
Ooh.
And so for me, that was just like, yeah, I had a very love-hate relationship with the movie, and I went through so many emotions with it, and I didn't know if it was good or I didn't know if it was good enough. And so when I put it out there, just like, let me see what the feedback is, and like to get into the festival, and even like comments that I'm getting today about like how great it was and how people enjoyed it. To me, it just taught me like, don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing a great job. Keep doing it. And so that's one thing that I learned, you know, with making this short. Among some other directorial things that I will take forward.
Vick?
I just want to get better. Every project I learned something new, and in everything that I'm learning, I just wanted to level up, and every aspect of it. Every aspect, I learned something new. The editing, I learned some new tricks, and just everything. Every project I take what I've learned, the good and the bad, and take it to the next one and just try to do better. And that's it. My competition is me, and I'm crazy. That's all.
How about you, Jessica? What will you carry with you from Liar into your next projects? I feel like you've probably done a million projects since this film, but Jessica?
Is it unmuting?
There we go.
I'm going to war with this.
Oh man, like the filmmaking process.
For me, I would say never underestimate the power of asking. Even when I wanted to chicken out and say, "Oh, this person would never agree to do it," I just asked, and I was really surprised. I was able to lock in a location in the South Loop for free, just simply by asking.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully Jessica will be able to rejoin us in the next few minutes. I see a comment to ask Derrick about having a film that's in Cannes. Can you tell us a little bit more about what film that is, Derrick?
Oh, it's the same film. It's the animated film. It's the Cannes Short Film Festival.
Nice.
It's a short film festival, so it's not Con.
It's still Cannes.
but it's you know, it's international, so that's cool. So
very exciting.
Yeah.
Looks like
very excited.
Still, but yes, congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
I welcome anybody who's watching in the audience. If you have any questions, please submit. The comments are very active, and I haven't seen questions. Just lots of kudos and love for all the projects. Lots of fans, hopefully some new fans have found your work through the festival. I see some yes, Carol. Y'all are amazing. Really loved your work. We need it now more than ever. Here we go. Here's stuff. So can you share more about how you're utilizing your assets and what you'll carry with yourself?
Do you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh my God, this thing won't let me be great. So to finish my statement, never underestimate the power of asking, and never underestimate what Chicago has to offer. I think we have some amazing people here. The talent I worked with, the crew that I worked with, like I could have asked for a better crew. I was so incredibly grateful for everybody who worked with me. And that was the two greatest takeaways. Like Chicago has some super, don't sleep on Chicago. Like, oh my God.
Chicago, it's the best city in the world. It's the best city in the world.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that we're starting to see more storytelling going on. We've got some supernatural storytelling on the South Side, thanks to Lovecraft Country now. What are some media coming out recently that have kind of inspired you all or just caught your attention? We can start with Arkier and go around.
For me, would definitely Lovecraft Country, which me and a friend of mine actually do like weekly podcast reviews of the episodes. So that's really dope. The fact that it was shot here and some of my cast was actually in the pilot episode and I saw them. So that was like, what? So that oh my God, what else? I'm trying to see. There's a new movie coming out with I'm forgetting her name now, Loretta Devine and Omari Hardwick. Yeah, Spell. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm just happy to see us in more of these genres and not in the more, like Scream genre, like when you're just there for 5 minutes, then they kill the character off. We don't get to know nothing about the character. And it's just like, oh. So I'm glad to see more of us in these, in something other than, comedy and drama. Not that that's a bad thing for those genres, but I'm just happy to see us in more facets, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have for the nerds such as myself, we have like, the MCU and the DC comics and stuff like that. And I want to definitely have a space in there as well, but coming from more of the supernatural horror sci-fi aspect. So yeah, so glad to be a part of the booming conversation.
Regina?
I had to think for a second because I've been watching a lot of stuff. But I think Lovecraft for sure is taking me for a ride. There are so many things, so many elements in there. Watchmen, I watched, I think, shortly before this. If you have not seen Watchmen, I watched it twice. And first of all, Regina King, that's the tweet. And then I revisited, because I think we always should, Boondocks. There's so much in there that is so accurate to today. And it's just so funny. I'm really excited for them to return. I've been really kind of going in that nostalgia direction, and the way that Netflix is popping out these 90s Black classics is really helping that. So the Parkers, I'm very excited for 101 to come on Netflix. That's really good. I've also been looking into indie film as well from Black filmmakers. So there's one called Test Pattern by Shatara Ford. I think she's in the process of releasing it. She had it out for a limited amount of time online, and that was really good. Tyresha Poe's Selah and the Spades was on, who was that? Amazon. I think it was Amazon. Yes, that was good. Very cinematically, like super beautiful. And then Romney Malco, I think he made his first like directorial debut, and he wrote it, directed it, edited it, called Tijuana Jackson. Strongly recommend you watch that on Amazon. It's very funny, but also he's dropping gems. I've been really, as you can see, I've just been really doing a deep dive. Yeah, so it's been a good time to just stay at home and binge. So yeah.
Derrick. Oh, you're muted still.
I had no idea about the Romani Malco film, so I really need to look that up.
It's so
good. That's great. I shout out to HBO.
Yes.
Just for like, that's my thing. It's just like they're really giving a lot of money. And shooting a lot of money behind shows that talk about racism and don't necessarily like beat you over the head with it. It's genre, but it's still there. And so I just Lovecraft Country. I'm like a couple episodes behind, but Watchmen. I mean, yeah, shout out to HBO. It's just like them doing their thing. I think the chairman there left last year or something like that. So we'll see what happens in the next coming year, but I hope they keep it up. I really hope they keep it up. It's really a great thing to have.
Shaquille?
So it's not new, but girlfriends. I'm always gonna be in
Oh yeah.
friends. Moe.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I know I need to get out of the past, but those are my things. You know, those are the things that right. Those are the things that like continue to like inspire me. And then I love my show Greenleaf and anything Bashonda Rhimes.
Oh,
Okay.
you can't go wrong with those.
Exactly.
That's
How about
fantastic.
you, Vick?
That's fantastic.
For me, Lovecraft is the bomb. It's very inspirational. But I've been watching Living Single on on Hulu, and a lot of the old things that I'm watching, I'm actually like studying and looking at the character development and just when you rewatch something that you watched in the past and you've seen it in one way, now you see it in such a different way, and it's like, oh, so smooches, like that was the thing, you know, like smooches, you know. I'm just taking notes on these characters, and so Living Single is one of them that I'm watching, and already, like I said, Lovecraft is the bomb. I can't wait till tomorrow.
Erica Alexander should be employed in everything.
She's great. Yeah.
She's the best.
Agreed. Real quickly, Jessica.
I'm gonna flip the question because I feel like I've been watching a bunch of nothing for the past 2 weeks. But I tell you what, I'm excited to watch. Lovecraft. Obviously, I have not started Lovecraft. Sadly, I feel like I'm the only Black person that hasn't seen yet.
Spoiler free.
I gotta watch it. I would definitely say, since obviously I come from enjoying creating period pieces, Fargo. I actually had the privilege of working on Fargo for a few days, and just seeing how they transformed Chicago to make it look like a completely different place in a completely different time is really inspiring. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Spell, the film, and I'm excited to see Candyman. I wish they would stop pushing it back.
Yes.
Those are my answers.
Agreed. Well, all excellent answers. I'm honestly most excited to see what you all do next. So thank you so much for sharing your film with the Chicago Southside Film Festival. The only bad thing is that I wish they're all just more. So I can't wait to see what each of you does next. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in, who has supported throughout our entire festival year. It's been a rough one. So every bit of, support, buying tickets, tuning in, adding comments, and of course, we wouldn't be here without our incredible creatives. We're all excited to see what's coming next out of the South Side, and I feel like this screening exemplifies how much our filmmakers are on the cutting edge. Thank you so much to our sponsor for this screening, Cinema 53. Jackie Stewart and Sabrina Craig were so generous. They're actually offering a prize that's going to go to one of our filmmakers here. We'll be announcing that next week. Thank you to our sponsors for the rest of the festival: IIT, Naked by Essations, Rebuild the Hood. We've had so much great support. The Chicago Southside Film Festival is a nonprofit, so we really rely on our community and everyone who is a part of our circle to keep us going. We're going to continue with our online platform as long as it's necessary, but we do hope to be able to come back in person, see our people, be out in the South Side together again. So for what we'll have next, southsidefilmfest.org. And just very quickly, where can we find each of you to follow your work? Quickly, let's start with Arkier and go around.
Yes, well, you can find me on YouTube, Prince Onyx, as well as for the Confusion Film series. It's Confusion Film, the words put together, space, the word series, and you can find us everything that you need to know there. And yeah, we're on Instagram, Twitter. So when you go to my channel or the Confusion channel, you'll find all of our social media. So that's that.
Perfect. Regina?
For me, I'm a granny, so it's just my name everywhere at Regina Hoyles on Instagram, Twitter. I try to stay out. Twitter has been really crazy over there. And if you want to check out Adullam, it'll be airing on Revolt TV actually for the next 3 years. Yeah, so if you want to check that out, it just comes on. You got to check your local listings, but it's on cable. And yes, stay tuned for
exciting, Derrick. You're muted. Sorry, Derrick. Uh-oh, do we lose him? Okay, well, while Derrick is reconnecting, Shaquille, where can we find you and your work quickly?
So you can follow me on Instagram. It's right here at Shaquille_Pink, PYNC. And you also can follow my production page, which is Pink Studios, PYNC Studios.
Perfect.
On Facebook.
Vick?
You can, my website, vickflick.com, and Instagram, vickflick, AVICK, FLICK.
Jessica?
My Instagram is Jessica Tolliver _DP, and my website is jessicatolliverdp.com.
Perfect. Well, now everyone out there knows where to find, the next great things coming out of Southside Filmmakers. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in. Keep tabs on us at southsidefilmfest.org, and have a good night.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lex.
Good night. Good night. Thank you guys again.
Great job, everyone.